in the tents with his men, and his men were willing to fight and die for him.
Caesar now took control of the battle. He ordered his men to charge at the enemy. For 200 yards they ran. A hail of arrows rained down on helmets and shields. But even when they got to within 30 yards, Pompey's men still refused to advance.
He told his troops not to charge. The argument was that if you don't charge, Caesar's troops got to traverse twice the distance, and they're going to be tired out when they get here.
Caesar's centurion tidied up the ranks. But then they advanced through their pila. Pompey's army returned the volleys. Both armies at point-blank range. Both ranks collided, but they were evenly matched. Pompey's line held like no other, with opponents asking one another to get news of their fate back to their families. Caesar could not make any headway against Pompey's weakened left wing. But then he ordered in his third line, which contained hardened troops. Pompey's left wing broke completely, and standing in the center of his army, he saw his remaining legionaries turn and run. Pompey lost the will to fight and fled in panic back to his camp. Caesar had won the day.
What the civil war between them reveals is that Caesar is actually the better general, and that his success in Gaul had not been a flash in the pan. It was an instance of someone who has a tremendously flexible grasp of generalship, and even more than Pompey did.
In his own written accounts, Caesar claimed he killed 15,000 of Pompey's men, 100 dead, and captured 9 of the eagles. But this was, after all, history written by the winner. The Greek historian, Plutarch, calculated Pompey's casualties at 6,000.
Pompey's described in most of the historical sources as being totally shattered by this and crazed almost by this defeat. He withdraws to his tent, he leaves his soldiers on the battlefield, he flees.
Pompey and his wife fled to the coast of Greece and sailed to Egypt. Caesar pursued, but the two rivals would never meet again. One of Pompey's own centurions murdered him as he stepped ashore near Alexandria. Caesar arrived 3 days later and was given Pompey's head in a sack, but he refused to look at it and ordered that Pompey be buried with full honors. He healed the wounds of civil war and showed mercy to many of Pompey's lieutenants, including Marcus Brutus, whose mother had been Caesar's lover.
Caesar wanted them to join him, and he sends tribunes in to tell the blokes, you know, you're Romans, we're Romans.
Caesar would stay for a while in Egypt and had a child by the young queen, Cleopatra. The civil war was over. He now had supreme power in Rome. His victory marked the end of the old Roman Republic. After returning to Rome, he became dictator. He even had a month of the year named after him. Julius would be emperors with absolute power, claiming divine authority from the gods. 4 years later, in 44 BC, Caesar was stabbed to death by conspirators who feared he had amassed too much power. One of them was Marcus Brutus, whose life he had spared in Pharsalus. Bleeding from many wounds, Caesar fell dead at the feet of a statue, the statue of his greatest rival, Pompey the Great.